Hey, welcome back everybody. This is my much delayed episode 2 of my look at Alpha 50. In the 2 weeks since Alpha 50 has gone live on the stable branch, there have been 3 hotfixes, or I should say there have been 2 hotfixes, A and B, and then, where the hell? And then 1 update to the experimental branch. What the hell's going on? Yeah, so we're up to Alpha 50C on the experimental branch. So much to talk about. My personal life, notwithstanding, which has been hectic and has led to an irregular update schedule. Everything is more or less settled now, so that's cool. Where am I? Or where is this colony set? It is set in the Savannah biome. Actually, I'm going to pause for a second. I have so much to talk about. This is the Savannah biome, but it also borders the ocean, so it's actually Savannah/ocean biome, as we can see by this lovely water. There's all sorts of different flora, even the ground cover looks different. I started with the basic starter pack. I don't know what to expect from this map, but I haven't had a lot of time to play lately. Look at these trees. They're baobab trees, which is apropos because I went and saw the Little Prince movie in theaters about a week ago. And as any of you who have read that book, Le Petit Prince, will probably be aware, baobabs play an important part in the ecosystem of the Little Prince's own little planetoid, V612. Yeah, enough of that. So I'm going to start the colony here. Now, this colony playthrough might be slightly more irregular and might not have as many episodes as some of my other playthroughs. That's just the way it's going to be, unfortunately. Man, look at this. Alright, first off, as always, let's build our carpentry. Oh, look at all this flat land. I think that's what happens when you build like right next to the ocean. Yeah, that's lots of room to expand. So, I'm going to build these buildings a bit bigger than I normally do. Normally I just make them teeny tiny little buildings. But the reason I'm building them is because of recent changes to the decor system. So, in games past, I would make them really tiny, and then to offset the condition of the building, which declines with each interior module you include, I would stick in a ton of windows all along the outside. The devs changed this, the way this worked, because it was leading to some uninteresting game interactions, basically. People just not bother with all of the lovely interior decor modules, right? Look at all this. No one would ever bother with these because they're kind of expensive and they take up valuable interior floor space, whereas a window would improve conditions, and they were super cheap to build and only occupy space on the outside of a building. So of course everyone would build windows and no one would build interior modules, which meant it was basically there was no variety in gameplay. Anyway, so the devs have changed that. Windows no longer provide condition bonuses. These are instead provided by, or as usual, they're provided by decor items, but not windows. Now to build decor, you don't just build them out of materials. That has also been changed. So there's a new resource called bric-a-brac. Let me just put down a stockpile here. Where? Oh, Josephine. This tree is so humongous. This cluster of trees is so humongous that Josephine boot is actually inside. This massive baobab stump. Yes. So when the carpentry is complete, I'll be able to show you how bric-a-brac is used. So that's one thing. Minor change, or actually no, significant change to the way the decor system works, and of course we know the condition of a building which is influenced by its decor contributes to the mental well-being of your colonists, or their happiness for working there. One thing I'm a little concerned about is there doesn't seem to be a lot of stone in this area. What is this? Malachite? Rhyolite debris, can't use that. Before I forget. Her Majesty's salty 38th Regiment? What makes them salty? Fishy behavior. Well, that's good. On the plus side, he's already fulfilled one of his own desires, to be a member of the military. Man. Starting off... Oh, there's a rhyolite boulder down here. Good. Well, I guess it's time for some underwater mining. Okay, so as these get built, actually I'm going to queue up a kitchen as well, and I'm going to queue up, again, I'm going to make this pretty big. Oh, that's going to need a lot of timber. I'll make them big for a couple of reasons. First of all, as those of you who have observed my playthroughs before will remember, I like to put cots in my buildings as they get built, so I need room for that. But now, buildings also need to house the decor, which requires floor space, which requires bigger buildings, which in turn requires more resources to build those buildings, so more timber and more stone. So we'll see how that works out in terms of pacing and game balance. How am I doing for resources? So the standard loadout came with a very little bit of refined metals. I believe every starting loadout now starts with 5 pistols, which is good because it used to be that most of the starting loadouts, with the exception of the military-themed loadout, would start off with only 1 pistol, which caused everyone great consternation. So hopefully most colonies are now able to defend themselves early in the game, and I forgot to assign my 1 unassigned worker, whatever, you can work under patna steelworth. Yeah, okay, so let's get the first crop field set, and then I can talk about some of the other changes. So look at this. Crops, now depending which biome you select when you embark, you will be limited to a certain number of crops. Of course, so some crops are exclusive to certain biome types. I actually went into it in a little more detail in the video previous to this, episode 1 of my look at build 50. But basically, the specific biome and the climate of that biome will determine what you're able to grow there initially. And it's no longer the case that crops you cannot grow are grayed out; their icons just do no longer appear. You'll be able to research more crops when you eventually build a laboratory and spend some of your science points to unlock other crop types. But the crops initially available to me here in the Savannah biome are chilies, sugarcane, and tea. Tea is a new crop. I haven't ever actually successfully grown a tea field. I don't want to do that yet because I don't believe you can eat tea. You can box it up for export, I believe, and you might even be able to make a beverage. But right now I need to be focused on the survival of my colony. So I'm going to demarcate a chili pepper field. Hope my colonists like eating chilies. Lots and lots of chilies. Right. So you know what? Yeah, alright, Patna. You and your crew can work there. Someone here, a particularly good farm is Enoch? No, Enoch will make a good carpenter. Rustic disposition means they like owning and handling things that are made of wood. So Enoch will be the town carpenter, and that'll do for now. So, now that it's nighttime and no one wants to work, I direct your attention to the upper right. It's kind of hard to see because it's nighttime. You see this large black square here on the upper right? That's the minimap. No longer quite as mini. It's expanded, but as you'll observe, I can now navigate the First of all, the map now appears in the minimap, and these little white dots are areas where I have line of sight, and the very white spots are where I have buildings and structures. So the minimap now reflects what's going on in game. Also, I can navigate to different points on the map by clicking on the minimap, which is awesome. Now, so I can rotate around and the minimap doesn't rotate, and there's no indication on the minimap where the camera is. So, you know, those would be useful features as well, not yet in the game. I hope they're coming. Hope we've chopped down these humongous Biomes. Let's clear some of these. Yeah, so you may notice the event log is gone. It's no longer appears at the top middle of the screen. Also no longer appears in the bottom right of the screen. Instead, it's been reduced to this button, the history. If I click it, you'll see that it opens this big window, which I can move around. I can't resize it, so it's kind of stuck at this size. But yes, so it's a list of all the things that would go in the event, normally have gone in the event ticker, and now they go on this event log, which I can open and whoops, which I can accidentally open multiple copies of and close with the X button. That's a change to the UI. I'm not sure if I like that or not. Maybe I'm just used to it appearing in the box in the bottom right. Also, so this button will do nothing because I have no alerts. But when alerts pop up, I now have a button to close them all at once. And oh, the deathworm. I see the deathworm occurs here in the Savannah. Go get him, Orion Coal Heaver. Oh, this is going to be a long, boring chase. Got him penned against the ocean. Oh, they're mushrooms. There's a white cup fungus. Good job, Orion. And, yep. Apparently we've got some underwater logging and mining going on. Titus. Well, good job. Alright, so we'll let the colonists get on with what they're doing. Let's take, while the autosave fires off, let's take a look at, there have been some changes to the way colonist personalities work. Basically, sometime between 50B and 50C, you'll notice, first of all, you'll notice these 4 rows and these 4 columns have all been shifted slightly to the right, and that's because the devs have removed the 5th column, which used to be Madness, and its icon was that of a purple brain with a purpley glow that will reflect how mad your colonist was. They basically combined madness into madness and sadness into a single emotion called despair. That was to streamline the way the emotion system worked. And actually, the devs published a really interesting blog post on why they did that. It was the most recent one, if you want to look it up. And basically, it was because there was a lot of overlap in those systems, and also the way they interacted, the way the different facets of personalities interacted with memories, created a system whereby it was really difficult to see what was affecting a colonist's personality. So by rolling madness into despair, and to some extent despair can be considered the anti-happiness, but also propensity toward insanity and culty things. And then we have the standard other three emotions. Oh, so here we have a little mini alert here. This is new. If you'll observe on the right-hand edge here. So I could close these with the close all alerts button. I'm not going to. So I can left click it to zoom and right click to dismiss. That was just a notification telling me the carpentry was built. And fish people. Someone spotted fish people. Right click to dismiss. So slight inconsistency here between between versions 49 and the current version 50C. There's been some flip-flopping. So it used to be that alerts would pop up and you would left click to investigate, right click to dismiss, and then that was inverted. So you would right click to investigate and then left click to close, and now they flipped back basically. And to make matters more confusing, it's actually been applied inconsistently. So sometimes the tooltip will be correct, telling you which one closes and which one dismisses, and sometimes it hasn't been updated yet. So at present, investigating / closing tooltips is a bit of a crapshoot. The devs are aware of it, and they're going to work on it. But for now, count on accidentally closing a window when you want to read it several times during each playthrough. All right. And, anyway, back to the personality screen. Actually, I will get back to you in a second, but better assign some carpenters. Who did we say? Enoch Pendlewick. Enoch Pendlewick is going to make a good carpenter. So I'm going to say I want the carpentry always to keep a stock of 5 planks. You need a bunch of cots, queue those up. I've got some colonists coming in, 2 colonists, good. I happen to know that we need 2 warehouse doors, and now I need bric-a-brac. Bric-a-brac is used to make decor items. So if I click on what the carpentry is able to build now, like the wall shrine and the church banner, these all cost, and the carpets, these all cost certain amounts of bric-a-brac. So the barbershop pole needs 1 unit of bric-a-brac. 1 unit of bric-a-brac needs 3 planks. So I'm going to say I'll just maintain a level of, whatever, say 4 bric-a-brac. So I'll always have some when I need to spontaneously make some decor. So I've queued up a bunch of jobs for the carpentry. And here, the chili fields. Chili is terribly inefficient, but it's actually the only food crop I have available to me right now, which worries me a little because I haven't seen a lot of wildlife for hunting. Anyway, back to the personalities. So let's take a look at Patna again. Now if I hover over each emotion, it's broken down into what is influencing the colonist. And each emotion now has a baseline value. So in order of happiness, despair, anger, fear, the baseline values are 50, 25, 25, 25. Then those can go up and down depending on personality interactions and environmental factors like the quality of their workplace or whether or not they have a bed or have to sleep on the wooden floor of the carpentry. So we can see here, Pathina's happiness is 67. It's actually better than when she arrived. But that's just because she joined the colony. And then we can see, being inspired by the military made her a little bit happier. Gossip made her both happy and sad, but net happier. She was happy to have eaten food, which is not going to last long because we're going to have a food shortage. And she suffered a day without sleep. And so on. So this affects each emotion of every colonist, which again determines how effective they are at working and their interactions, that sort of thing. It's all pretty cool. Now, a change to the memory system is that memories no longer fade away. So you either have or do not have memories. Right? So here we have a list of Pathina's memories. That was a recent change as well, sometime between 50B and 50C. Basically, as memories faded, they became less effective. They had less effect on a colonists, and colonists are reminding me I need a barracks. Thank you. Under the old system, as memories faded, they would have increasingly less effect on a colonist's personality. But again, this was causing issues with the simulation. Basically, all of that sort of overlapping subtlety made it incredibly difficult to tell at a glance why colonists were acting the way they are, or just sort of tracking back why colonists are angry or happy, or specifically what you could do to alleviate that. And because this is a system players interact with regularly, like all the time, the devs felt it was best to make the system more transparent. So as we can see now, each emotion is broken down into its contributing factors, but also to remove some of the subtlety. So there's been some streamlining there. So the system had potential for much more complexity, but for gameplay reasons, and as I recall, the way the devs explained it was a system that a player has to interact with all the time needs to have as much sort of effective capacity for feedback as possible. No, like crunchiness. Oh, someone dug up a strange artifact. I'm willing to bet it was Josephine Victualler here. Who's doing our underwater mining. Yeah, what the heck is this? This is, I get, this might be the wrong graphic for this pop-up tooltip. So I have the text notification, the expansion of the alert, but it's got the background of like some sort of this trade house tutorial. Yeah. Let's see, Josephine Victualler is probably a little more crazy now that she has dug up an artifact. I can't click on, there we go. Yep, so her most recent memory is witnessing the infinite terror and malinvastness of the cosmos. As we can see, it affected her despair rating. Yeah, so, oh man, wow, this is running long already. So, that's essentially the new stuff. Just between the launch of 50 and 50C now. Oh man, okay. One more thing to do before I wrap this up. A couple of our faithful viewers have asked that they be allowed to take over the colony, so who can I give to... Who is interesting? Ooh, Titus Steelmud's Bewitched Work Gang. Titus Steelmud, where are you? Alright. Titus Steelmud, I dub thee... so many pop-up elements. Johann? Berkovic. We are now, you are now Johann Berkovic's Bewitched Work Gang. And the reason the work gang is considered bewitched is because Johann is doomed. And also foolishly brave. So, that should be interesting. Doomed, one of the implications of doomed is that they tend to be the colonists who have paracrates falling on them. So they have a greater probability that crates from the Empire will land on them and probably hurt them badly. Okay, another colonist. Oh, let's see. Who would be interesting? All right, Orion Coalheaver, I'm going to rename you to Yaroslav. Whoops. Przezinkowski. Yaroslav Prezenkovsky. The Salty 38th Regiment. Yes, they're fishy soldiers. If you're interested in having your name added to the colony, just let me know in the comments, and I will endeavor to do so. Alright, so that's what's up with this colony. We've just barely got it started, and already I had so much to talk about that I ran over time. Yep, thanks for tuning in for this episode. I will try and get the remaining episodes up on a regular pace. Okay, the game is Clockwork Empires, currently in development by the good folks at Gaslamp Games. My name is Alfred. I do these looks at the monthly stable branch updates of Clockwork Empires as they come out once a month. So the game's in early access. You'll notice bugs and omissions and things that aren't balanced. It's a work in progress. The game's available on Steam, also through the Humble Store, and also directly through Gaslamp Games. If you're interested in this sort of game, it saw a really big content push with Alpha 50 here. A whole bunch of this stuff is new. New biomes, new systems, UI fixes, always refinements, and that sort of thing. You've heard me say this 1,000 times. If it looks interesting, now's a good time to check it out. It's reasonably stable. It's pretty stable, I would say. So it's definitely playable. And of course, more stuff is being added all the time. And I got a new overseer. Okay. Anyway, thanks for checking this out. I will see you guys next episode.